Hey guys, Hailey Lain aka Key Black here, and welcome back to another episode of Off the Cuff, where we are going to dive right back into the Death T saga of the Yu-Gi-Oh manga, Death T-4, Capsule Monster Chess. We are picking up right where we left off in the last episode, which was the appearance, finally, of the other Yugi in the Death T saga, which has just been dangling since the outset. I'm loving it so much. I'm like basking in this moment. I'm also just extra tickled because yeah, he comes out with his usual confident persona, but then when Mokuba threatens his friends, all of that's gone and he's like super aggressive and defensive. I really dig whenever like an overconfident main character gets finally put into a situation where he's not as confident as he'd like to appear. Jinochi gets this really cool moment where he kind of gets this gleam in his eye and he says, "Yugi, don't worry about us, just kick his butt at his own game." And the game of the day, speaking of which, is of course Capsule Monster Chess, the virtual reality version where there's this grand big board beneath them in Battle Box so the audience can see the whole fight playing out in virtual reality. It's actually pretty funny this time too, because the other Yugi up until now has been pretty talkative in all of his shadow games and all the challenges that he brings people into. And of course, the last time we saw him playing against Mokuba, he was just trash-talking him the entire time, but this time he's actually really quiet and very reserved, like he's just, you know, he's letting Mokuba make all the first moves until he's finally in a position that he wants to be in. And of course, as he usually does, he manages to pull a full turnabout and bring the entire game onto its head and turn the tables on Mokuba. The gimmick this time is that he's got a certain piece that he's able to evolve into the highest level possible piece, which he then pits against all of Mokuba's pieces, because of course Mokuba cheated again. There's actually this really cute panel when the evolution happens for that piece, where it's the other Yugi's face layered on top of little Yugi's face, and he's saying something like, "No matter how weak a piece may start, if you believe in every step it takes, it'll grow strong." It's like, that's really unusually wholesome for you, but I'm here for it. This is so sweet. Again, I'm like totally outing myself here. The reason I love these chapters so much is it's like, okay, we've seen the other Yugi being a total gremlin brat this entire time. Now we get to see him actually being a total sweetheart. And as well, like the way that this battle ends is just, it's really surprising for the other Yugi. You know, up until now, this kind of happened in the Shadi fight too, where he saved Shadi unexpectedly, even though the entire time we've just been basically seeing him be completely ruthless with whoever it is he's playing a game against. But when Mokuba loses at Capsule Monster Chess, Kaiba follows through on his promise that the loser gets a penalty game, and he actually puts Mokuba through the experience of death. And the other Yugi is horrified by this, like he whirls around in shock. Impossible! Kaiba's putting his own brother through a penalty game? And so he rushes back and he grabs Mokuba by the hand and yanks him out of the battle box, and then it's so cute, Mokuba like flinches back, like, why would you save me after all of that? And the other Yugi says something like, "Mokuba, I wouldn't have won this if I didn't have friends who reached out to me." It's like, yes! Yes! It's so freaking cute. He's got like the most gentle expression that we've seen on him in the manga so far. This is the stuff that made me totally have a crush on the other Yugi growing up. And as Yugi finally turns to leave and head up to Death T5 to challenge Kaiba at his own game, Mokuba actually starts to reveal a little bit of the Kaiba backstory. It turns out that Seto Kaiba was not always a massive jerk. Once upon a time, he was actually a very kind and sweet older brother. Once again, having come from the English dub of the anime first, this is just like, oh my god, this is a whole bunch of character development on the Kaibas that I had never seen before, because the Duel Monsters anime just skips straight from "Big brother, is it time for my cameo yet?" into Duelist Kingdom, where, you know, Mokuba's trying to prevent Industrial Illusions from taking over Kaiba Corp. I'm just loving, like, the piece-by-piece, you know, bits of information that we're getting about the Kaiba brothers as this thing is going on, and it's suddenly becoming less, wow, these two just completely asshole brothers are deciding to be jerks to Yugi, and more like, oh no, there's a problem here. And as Yugi finally turns to head up to Death T5, Mokuba is left wondering if maybe Yugi can save Seto the way he saved Mokuba. And I love this transition. Kaiba slams his briefcase shut right after that flashback. It's like Takahashi, the pacing. Kaiba declares that he's heading to Death T5 himself, where he'll finally get his revenge. And so I'm just like in hog heaven the first time I'm reading this, going like, you just gave me everything I wanted with the two Yugi breeze in these chapters, and now we're finally getting to the zenith of this arc right when the hype is the highest. So guys, we're gonna cut it off there. Thank you so much for listening and for watching, and I will pick this up again in the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Off the Cuff, and I will see you then.